especially when I laugh. Which might happen a lot. I don't know. Hello, everybody. I don't know if we're live.
Hello. Let me check if we're live.
Mine still never says that we're live when we are.
It says it was live on the StreamYard.
Yeah, I know, but it always says there, but it never shows on my app that we're live.
Oh, yeah. We are live. We are, because mine still says waiting.
I'll track you. Hello.
Are we
live? We will have Sam from Sam Reads a Little joining. She's out right now, so she's coming in a little later. Oh, there we go. Now it's going. So she might be popping in a little later. Cool. But we are live. Okay, hello everybody. We will go around and introduce ourselves, and we will say what we're currently reading, even though most of us just finished this, but we can share what else we're reading too. 3 out of the 4 just finished, so it's fine. Desiree, we'll go with you first.
Oh wait, I don't remember the title. Someone else go for me. Let me look it up on my Goodreads. 1 second.
What we're currently reading? I don't know if what I'm currently reading is appropriate for Jessica's channel.
Is the title okay to say?
I don't think so. Let's just say Jessica Kane. Okay, this is not what I'm currently reading. I saw it before we came on. I'm reading something else. But Jessica Kane did come out with a new novella, guys, and you guys know I love me some Jessica Kane. I forget what it's called.
I want to read it so bad. It's like My Coach, My Stalker.
My Coach, My Stalker, yeah. I literally am downloading it on Kindle Unlimited right now.
Oh my god.
Yes! I already downloaded it like 30 minutes ago.
How many books does she write? It's like 2 a month.
At least one a month. At least.
Yeah. I don't know. I love all her books so much. Whenever I get the email that she like released something new, I'm like, yes, instant
download. Instant.
Those brand of authors usually like release.
Yeah, I've been reading like a lot of monster romances and novellas. Like I know Desiree read that lizard one. That one's on my totally different from historical romance.
Yeah. Okay, well, that was the one that I just finished reading. It's called I Married a Lizard Man by Regine Hall. And the one that I read before that I really liked was called Real by Amy Bellows. I don't know if I could talk about what they were exactly about with the lizard man. He's a lizard man, so it's an alien romance. It kind of like explains it all. It's a marriage of convenience. She was from like a farming planet, and then he's in a hunter-gatherer type colony, and they need money because they're starving, and she knows how to farm, but they don't like farming. There's like a whole history with that with their people. So she's just like, I'm gonna farm the land by myself and get y'all money. And then the when I read before that, Real, it's about a pleasure doll turned real. It's like a Pinocchio retelling.
Who comes up with these ideas?
Moving on.
Oh, wait. I know what book I can talk about. Okay. It's PG-13, I promise. So I know a lot of people are loving reverse harem right now. The one by Catherine Moon that I sent you, Jessica, I think the first one is called Written. It's called the Librarian's Coven series. It is so freaking good. The heroine is a librarian for like this magical college, and she ends up getting in a romance with these 3 college professors who want her to be in their coven. And then there's like a magic mystery element to it as well. And it is the best reverse harem I've ever read. It's so good. It's a series. I can't wait to read it. Yeah, the first book is good. Like it doesn't end on a cliffhanger. So if you wanted to read it as a standalone, you can. But once you get to the second book, you have to read the whole series because they all connect. You can't read them out of order. Yeah, that one's really good. PG-13. Well, the book's PG-13.
Sorry. Rachel.
Hi, I'm Rachel from Rachel Reads and Sings. What I'm currently reading is Flashfire by TJ Klune. Ooh. This is book 2 in the Extraordinary series. All you need to know is that it's YA with gay superheroes. That's it.
I didn't know there was a second book.
Me either.
Yeah, the second book just came out like mid-July, I think. So I was really excited when the audiobook came in from my Libby app.
I still have to read that. I really like him though.
It's so good.
I love his book, so I'm so excited for the second Cerulean Sea book.
Yeah, I really need that one.
Lacey got a copy from Goodreads, and I'm very jealous.
I'm so jealous.
I won a Goodreads giveaway. I never win those, but I just started 7 Wishes by Serena Ackroyd. It's a paranormal. I think it's reverse harem, but like the synopsis says it's a bully romance, and it's not. And every review is like, this isn't a bully romance, it's reverse harem. So she like grew up in a cult, which is very interesting, and then gets discovered. They have like 7 souls inside of them, and they have to like figure out which one is the dominant soul, and that's like the one they choose when they turn 18, and they're supposed to represent like the 7 deadly sins. And she gets found and taken to like this boarding school for people with the souls inside of them, and there's guys there that like her. So interesting so far.
That does sound interesting.
My library had the audiobook. I was like, oh, sure.
Yeah. I'm happy reverse harem is having its moment because it. I'm obsessed.
I don't know if you guys know Melissa from She Has an Open Book. She's loved reverse harem for years. And I was like, you were way ahead of the times. Now everybody's reading them. And she talked about them like last year. She had a recommendation video, and we were all behind.
It's like her niche. She's like really into that. And I love her for it. I'll watch her videos and be like, yeah, I'll never read it, but that sounds interesting.
Yeah, I read helps and look at what she read and what she rated highly, and I'm like, oh, I'll read that one because she has read so many,
right?
Yeah.
We will start talking about our lovely book club pick. We'll start with our ratings. I only know Rachel's. I saw yours. I didn't see anybody else's. So.
Yeah, I gave it 3 stars. I feel like I have a lot of scattered thoughts about it. Like I have like a whole notes app about my thoughts just because they're just all over the place. So we'll get to that soon. But yeah, I gave it 3 stars.
Should I go next?
Go ahead. No.
Okay, well, I gave it 4 because like it was, as a whole, it was good, but probably like my feelings is probably like 3.5. So yeah, I went ahead and gave it the 4.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it 4 stars as well. It was really slow, and like the entire book, I was saying it was a 3-star, but I'm like an emotional reader, and I really, really like the ending, so 4 stars.
It was a really good ending.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know in the comments what you got.
I'm so happy that you like.
Someone loved it.
Yeah, I'm glad someone loved it.
We were supposed to have our live show last week, but there was a scheduling conflict. We had to put it to this week, and because of time zones, we can't really do during the week, so that's why we had to go to the next one. Well, so now it's closer to our next live show, which I think we haven't chosen our date yet, but I think it's going to be the last weekend.
Yeah, probably last weekend.
Yeah. Okay. I gave it. I had the same exact feeling that it felt very historical fiction-y to me.
Yes.
Even though it was a romance, I don't know. It just felt like more historical fiction. I don't know like why I had that feeling, but I'm giving it 3.5. I think I'll round it up to 4, but like I agree with what all of you guys were saying about it was slow. And Rachel, I read your Goodreads review. It was very she was annoying to me and how judgmental she was, wishy-washy she was. Like she was in it, then she was not, then she was in it, and then she was not. And I'm just like, come on. So yeah.
I didn't actually have a problem with her. Like I knew she was back and forth because she was struggling with her faith. And I had just read this whole like Amish romance thing, MM, where they were doing the same exact thing. Like they were like in and out of it. So like I think I was like mentally prepped for it. So maybe that was just me. But my biggest thing is there was so much math in this book. And I do not like math.
Oh my God.
If I had known that there was this much math, I would not have agreed to this assignment. So much. So it was so hard to get to like the first part.
I skipped over that.
I had the audiobook, so I had to listen to him talk about sines and cosines and like to the fourth, and I was like, oh my God. So that was definitely against it. Also, I think like I liked the voice actor, the way that he acted out his like speech impediment
Yes.
for his brain injury after he had a stroke, but it was also like really jarring to listen to on audio at 2 times speed. So that also kind of hindered my enjoyment. I don't know.
Yeah. I think the narrator did a really good job with the speech impediment, which is why I was kind of confused at first, because I didn't even read like the synopsis for it. I didn't read any Goodreads reviews. This was like a cover pick for me. So when I read it, I didn't expect him to be in the insane asylum. I didn't expect the speech impediment. I was very confused at first, but it was really interesting to me. Like, I really did like our hero. I didn't have a problem with our heroine, and maybe because I grew up in a very religious background. So it seemed very realistic for her to have this kind of like moral battle with herself. It seemed really realistic to me, so it didn't bother me too much. I did like her as well.
I think my problem was that she kind of like pushed it onto him when she found out about his mistress. And I was like, first of all, that was before he met you. And I hate it when we judge them for doing things before they met each other.
Yes.
That kind of really set off her wanting to leave at the end, was realizing he had a mistress and that he had a baby. And I really didn't like how he didn't care about the baby at first. He didn't do anything. He was like, oh, that's mine? Okay. And I was like,
that's fine.
Like, okay. And like not do anything. I mean, he did like pay for the wet nurse or whatever, but I don't know. That was
he warmed up to the bundle of joy.
That because like the baby and his mistress, that was like the start of where everything went wrong. So maybe he just had like his memory was all just jumbled up and he couldn't really like distinguish what was right and what was wrong because he was just trying to like find a way to not go back to the insane asylum. Maybe that's why. Maybe. I don't know. But he kept her in the end.
Yeah.
When they fell asleep together, that was so cute.
That was so cute.
It was adorable. I'm trying to think what else about this. I read it so fast, but like I had all these thoughts. I should have written it down.
The only thing I didn't like was I didn't like how there wasn't much accountability for the people in the insane asylum who were like that guard. Like nothing happened to him.
Nothing happened. Yeah.
Arrested now.
And I think that might be why like I loved the first chunk of the book a lot more than the rest of it, because I found this asylum to be so interesting. And I had a feeling going in, I was like, ooh, they're not going to treat him very well because during the Regency era, like at this point, they just think that he's gone crazy. They have no idea what a stroke even is, you know? So that was the most interesting part to me, is seeing how this like private asylum for really rich people was run. And it also just goes to show that even though these people are wealthy, it doesn't mean they're going to be treated well, you know, because they're all deemed to be mad. Yeah, that was the most interesting part for me. And seeing his like early recovery, seeing that his POV was interesting too. Like I didn't really expect to get his POV, especially so early, because I would have thought that the author wouldn't have known how to write it. But I thought that she did a good job with like how he's how he's seeing things, how he's processing things versus what's really happening, and you know, things like that.
Yeah, there's like I think if I remember correctly on my degree, I think there's like 2 different types of strokes, where one where you process language pretty well, but then you can't speak at all and get it out to what you want people to hear. And then like there's the opposite, where like you're not processing anything, but then it sounds like you're talking in like coherent language. So he got like, to not say it like in the best way, he got the better of the 2, because at least he understood what was happening. So it made his recovery a little bit faster. So I thought that was interesting that she picked that one, because if it was the other way around, I have no idea how she would have written this. I just kept thinking about that.
That's true. That's true.
But I like what you said, how when we got his point of view, you really got to see his progression and how by the end he fully understood what everybody was saying. But in the beginning, it was like I could barely comprehend what they were telling him because that's what he was hearing. And so I thought that was really cool, being able to see his progression towards getting better. And he got better because she treated him like a normal person.
Right, exactly. And
nice.
It's almost like you felt like you were him a little bit, because the way that it's typed out, it's like almost gibberish, but like you can kind of make out the gist of what that person is saying. And so you can understand why he would be so frustrated and why he would lash out, especially at the beginning.
Did y'all catch some of like the reasoning for some of these people's illnesses? The one that like had me tripping was like she went to school, and I was like, "That's her illness."
Crazy, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like there wasn't there one woman who it sounded like something bad had happened to her, and that rightfully so caused her to have some kind of breakdown, and so she ended up in this asylum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think some of them, for the women, it was things like basically just womenly afflictions that ended them up into the asylum, and then I think the asylum broke their spirit, so they're all like listless.
Yes,
that's what I was thinking. After so long of being in there, you're not getting out.
And I agree with what I think you brought up earlier about like it sucks that we didn't get any kind of like consequences for the people, or like happier endings for the other people who were in the asylum as well, like not just Christian. That was really depressing to read about for sure.
But it's realistic. I mean,
realistic. Yeah,
I was there.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is this book was really, really realistic. I mean, when you think of like other historical romances that have dukes, the dukes are essentially like kings. Like they can do whatever they want, say whatever they want. Like, but this, like in this, he's broken from the very beginning, and he has to fight for everything: his love, his happiness, his sanity. Like everything was not easy on him, and it wasn't like a traditional happily ever after. I didn't feel like I had a lot of questions, but it wasn't wrapped up in a pretty bow, which is also kind of what I liked.
I did really love the scene though with the father.
Yes.
When he describes her to the father, that's one of my favorite moments of their romance, and that happened at the very beginning of the book.
The kitten scene was cute.
A lot. The
kitten was so cute.
The kitten scene was adorable. Yeah.
Yeah.
I needed more of his dogs though. They were barely there. And I was like,
I knew it.
It was really cute though when they were reunited.
Oh yeah, the dogs were cute. I would actually, you know what? Now that you mention it, the dogs kind of had a personality that wasn't like explored. They could have explored that a little bit.
They basically saved his life. They were ready to ship him off to the grave, and they were like, "Whoa, he's alive, y'all."
Oh
yeah.
I agree with this though.
Yes.
Oh yeah. And I think part of the reason why for me it read as more historical fiction was just because the development of the romance to me was odd. I don't know. It was just like definitely not non-existent, but like something about it just was odd, and I felt like the plot was more based in all the other things going on in Christian's life. There was a big chunk of this book all about his financial situation, which again connects to, how in this book, being a duke doesn't mean that you get away with murder. Like you get away with everything, right? Like it sounds like the whole government was like really investigating him and really trying to see whether he could continue being a duke,
Mm-hmm.
But I made a note in my notes app. I was like, I don't care about the financial situation though. Like, because they kept going on and on about it, and I kept getting I just got like a little bit confused as to like what exactly was going on with his accounts and like all this stuff. I don't know. That's just me.
I still don't know if he's like in financially good standing at the end of the book.
Because
I still
there
have no
wasn't
idea.
really any closure except for that he made good friends with the Prince Regent. Like they made a good impression with him, and so that seemed to magically solve all of their problems. So I guess.
Yeah.
And he kept buying her these lavish gifts, and his daughter these lavish gifts. I was like, aren't you good at math? Like this can be solved very easily. I don't understand why this is a problem.
Yeah, I like with what money? I kept trying to, figure that out, and I kept saying he bought more gifts for her. With what money? Like, where is it coming from? I don't understand.
Why was he?
I never figured. His dad inherited debt.
His dad inherited debt, and then they kept the castle, whatever it's called, his dukedom running as he was in the asylum. So all those people were getting paid. They were paying for like candles and like the butler's hair powder or whatever.
Yeah, frivolous stuff.
Was still getting paid but not used, and there was nowhere no one there to like balance the funds. Like his brother-in-laws weren't doing that. So that whole year, a bunch of money was getting spent and it was essentially coming from nowhere. That's what it sounded like, at least.
Yeah, and it sounded like they eventually kind of cut him off because they deemed him to be mad.
Right.
That's how it kind of read to me.
But then he like went to the one guy's office and was like, "You're stealing," and I was so confused. And he like took all of his money and stuff from him. I was like, I don't know if I just don't understand like money during that time and like how it all worked. But
yeah, I was like, is this credit? I don't know what this is. Is
Right.
this money? I don't know.
No, I think it was his money. It sounded like he knew he had a large sum of money in the bank, but they wouldn't let him withdraw it because his family was convincing him that he wasn't mentally stable. But he had money. I don't know if it was enough to cover the debt, but he had money.
He just wasn't allowed to use his money to pay off his debt.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I don't know where he got the money
to me.
Use all on her. And like I would have been like, stop buying me flowers. Like this is ridiculous. And I guess she said that, but like I don't think she tried hard enough because that would bother me so much. We knew how much in debt he was. And he kept on buying her ridiculous things.
Yeah.
I mean, the crown was a bit ridiculous, but
it was really ridiculous.
I'll take all the flowers.
They're gonna die. So
yeah, I was like, she's gonna have a whole tiara, and again, I just kept saying, with what money? This thing's supposed to be really expensive. So,
I feel like he had money. He just wasn't able to use it. That's the impression that I got.
Yeah.
But then by the end,
sense.
it was like all magically better, but that was not explained. Like we didn't actually get closure about how his financial situation was so much better. He just made friends with the Prince Regent, and that was it.
Well, that's all that matters. Maybe his debt was forgiven because they didn't want to upset the king. Maybe they're like, oh, okay, well, he's cool with Prince Regent. We're just going to let him go $100,000. Like, I don't know. Speaking of closure, like at the end in the epilogue, they have a Christmas party and his family's there. And I'm like, what? Like they literally tried to ship you off to an insane asylum. And now like you guys are friends and at a party. Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
I didn't understand the reconciliation with his family either. I was kind of confused about that as well.
I think that's just aristocracy things. Like you can't really understand that one. I don't think they actually like each other. Just formality.
That's true.
I'm not sure what they did. He should have never seen them again.
I mean, you would think. I think he would, out of all of them, he probably was only ever really gonna be okay with seeing, what was her name? Like Mary, whatever, his great aunt or something, even though she was like really tough on him. Other than her, he probably didn't care to see them, but aristocracy and all their rules and politeness that I don't understand. It's that someone said he had money, but it was frozen because he was considered mad and the financial situation was bad because all his estates were run with loans, which he again couldn't repay because the money was frozen.
That's
the gist of what I got. Yeah.
Like they pay things with loans and then
maybe not usually. I feel like if you had the money, you would use it, but because his butler was running the estate and his butler isn't going to be able to get a hold of that money. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's why it would continue to run as loans. Mm-hmm. And his family was more concerned about taking over the title. Like if they really wanted to take over the title, they should have made sure everything was paid first, but whatever. It's fine.
There's always like jealous family trying to get things from people. Or I noticed a lot of times they inherit debt because people gamble too much. So I'm glad that didn't happen in here. But it's always like, oh, his dad gambled all their money away. And I'm like, again,
that's
like
a lot of money,
But there was so Jessica, what did you feel about the duel? I know you don't like duels, like in the very beginning of the book.
Oh,
how'd you feel about
you don't like duels? I didn't know that was a dislike.
I think that people are dumb by doing duels. Like because it's men trying to prove that they're stronger than the other one. They end up killing each other. But I mean, that felt really realistic though. And like I liked how he was like, I was gonna shoot in the air anyways. Like it's all a formality. Like it's dumb. But then his shot didn't shoot anyone, right? Because he dropped his pistol and he said it went off.
It hit the ground.
Yeah.
But
and it only went off because he jolted. He didn't mean to actually shoot.
Right.
Yeah.
But it didn't hit anyone, right?
No.
Right.
I don't think so.
Right.
Yeah. I think it was realistic because he was caught like with another man's wife, literally in his house.
Like literally, like there's nothing he could have done. He was literally caught red-handed. Like,
he was like, hi.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I actually thought
love the way that he exits.
It sounds like he gets caught in duels like all the time. Like the way he reacted, he was like, "All right, another one." Like
another one.
Have more of that to see like who he was before.
I'm glad that we got at least a little bit to see who he was before. I for some reason I thought like at the very beginning he would have the stroke, but I think we got a couple of chapters with him being himself and seeing how he was before all of that. And I thought it was interesting too that he met the heroine before he had the stroke as well. I didn't expect that.
I like that he was just able to walk out of that man's house though. That's the part that I kept thinking about. Like he was right there. If you were so upset, I thought he would have like shot him dead then and there. Like
I know. I feel like that's such an aristocracy thing. Like, okay, we'll meet at dawn, as opposed to like, let me beat you up right now. Like,
he was caught in the act. You could have done it right there.
Right.
Man had time to like collect his boots and everything.
Make chocolate. He was like drinking hot chocolate and everything.
Yeah. Hanging out with his friends, drinking hot chocolate.
That's
his two friends. The two friends were the best.
Oh yeah, German thing. I liked them.
Yes. The friendship was wholesome. Love a little bit of a bromance. Love to see it.
They were really good to him as friends. I was expecting them to kind of turn away once they like heard him speak, but the fact that they had like a solidarity, I liked that.
Mm-hmm. I feel like they helped him recover even more because like they were talking to him about like the past and stuff and helping him remember. And didn't the one go like back and forth like 3 different times to his estate and like back to get the dogs and going back? And
yeah. They helped him a lot.
Yeah. And I mean, they're really the only reason that they got married too and like actually formed a romance because that guy lied about the dad approving of it. Like if he never did that, she probably would have left. So those friends came in clutch for the romance for sure.
Man, I would have been mad at him too though. Like you lied to me.
I would have been like, yeah, people were banging on the door about to take me to an insane asylum. Of course I lied to you. Like why wouldn't I lie in that situation?
That's true.
But did he lie to her or did the friend lie to her? I don't really feel
friend.
Like
I think it was the friend.
Yeah.
It was Durham. He like told her that the dad had told her that she should go with the Duke if she felt so or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was even said like in the book, like he didn't understand why she was so mad at him, but not the two friends.
Yeah.
Like all her anger was solely towards him.
That was the odd part for me. I'm like, you can displace your anger in other places. I mean, it's allowed.
Yeah.
Another thing that the last thing that annoyed me about her was like she felt like she wasn't good enough to be a duchess. And I'm just like, that usually happens where the heroine's like, I'm not good enough for you. I'm not good enough to be in this role. And I'm just like, yes, you are. You married him. Just do it. Like, why are you so adamant that you can't be a duchess? It was so frustrating. I get because she's like a Quaker, right? And like
she's a Quaker, yeah.
Like don't like a lot of money and like all that stuff. But like, I think that life's behind you now. Be a duchess.
Well, and it seemed like she was more concerned about being a duchess than like being his wife. Like it was more about the title than being with him.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Because that goes against their Quaker ways.
Yeah, I mean, that titles. Is a very, very big deal. The fact that like she was going to have to write that essay or something. Like
that was awful.
Publicly humiliate herself and like try to get back into their good graces and like publicly denounce him too, and like oh Lord, that was a whole thing.
Bro, that felt like when they put the A on adulterers in like the village. That's what that felt like. That's branded her for life. Oh, I was like, oh man, this is awful. I hated that scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I liked it though because like it made sense as to why she was so wishy-washy. Like it was a believable conflict. But again, I can see why people say it read like historical fiction because a lot of it was more on like the characters' individual growth and not so much their growth in their romance. Mm-hmm. So I get it. I do get it how it seemed more historical fiction-y.
Yeah, and I personally feel like Christian grew more than she did. And I think that's something else that I just didn't love about her, is that I wish she could have grown more, and I just feel like she didn't. I don't know. She grew some, but not like enough. I don't know.
No, it happened in like the last 20 pages, because up until then she was still like, oh, I'm gonna ruin our marriage and I'm gonna go tell all the people how awful I am. Like,
oh yeah, it was pretty last minute, like them finally getting together, right? Wasn't that kind of like a very, very end of the book thing that like they finally,
like the last 15-20 pages?
Yeah. And again, I understand though and I will say I liked that following a Quaker heroine, because what was so jarring was the way that they were speaking to each other at the very beginning. Like her, I was like, this is weird.
I was like, am I in the era I think I'm in? Like, I don't know.
Like, oh, yeah. It did not feel Regency. It did not feel Regency at all.
Yeah. And I thought that was cool, like following her, that kind of character, and following somebody of that religion, because I've never read a romance with a Quaker main character or anything like that.
Yeah. Now and all that.
Yeah. It was just something to get used to, the way that she would pretty much speak to everybody, right? She
did not care. She was like, I don't care if you're the king. I don't care.
Literally. She did not.
Like, ma'am.
She was so lucky that the king was just like, oh, you like silly Quaker people. I just have such a fondness for you.
She's very lucky that, he just kind of thought it was silly.
Yeah.
Wait, the only time I got annoyed with her is when she said she couldn't lie. I was like, you're literally about to get arrested. Like, just over it.
Well, that's what happened, because she was lying and they were married.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, her whole thing with lying is weird.
But this book is so different from like any other historical romance I've ever read. And this is why I was so confused, because I knew nothing about the stroke, didn't know she was religious, knew nothing. I thought this was like a regular Regency romance. I was confused for the first 20% of the book. I was like, what is going on?
I feel bad that I'm like not head over heels in love with this one, because I know that this is like a fan favorite. Like people, they go crazy for this. Yeah, I think every time I get on one of these live shows, I have the same lukewarm reaction to these books. They're like fan favorites, and I'm like, it was like every single time I get on here, I have the same reaction. I feel so bad.
Well, and I do think these like older school historicals have a very distinctive and unique vibe to them that I feel like I'm still not used to it. Like, I don't think I hate it or anything like that. I think I'm just like so used to historicals that are published today that it's still a very jarring thing for me to read these older, like I think this was like published in the early 90s.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's very different. This one felt very, very unique, even though I haven't read many older school historicals. This one felt very unique for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think all the ones I've tried to read on my own, I've never finished. Like there's a Teresa Medeiros. I tried to read like 2 of her books, and I've literally, I kid you not, both of the books I stopped at 31%, like exactly. I looked back and I'm like, why did I stop? Because like I was enjoying it, but also like I felt like it was going on too long for the area that it was in the book or something like that. Like her books are just far too long. I think they're 400 pages each.
Yeah,
4 to 5.
400 pages. Yeah,
and it should probably be like closer to 3. Like it should have been, the ball should have been rolling, and it wasn't going anywhere. So I just
I think with these longer historicals too, what really helped me was reading them in like installments every day. Like this one, I read like I think 4 hours of the audiobook per day until I finished. If I had tried to read it all in one sitting, I know that I might have even DNF'd it. I don't know, because I didn't like hate it by any means, but it was just very long-winded, and like I think I would have gotten tired after a while if I didn't read it in little chunks.
That's how I felt.
I wish I didn't.
Complaining.
It was hard.
I can see this. So I can, like, for people who typically don't like historical romance and don't like steamy bits and things like that, I can see them liking this type of historical romance. So I can see why it had such a good reputation and why so many people liked her writing, because It is really different from like typical historical romances, but the length of it, I think that's just like older historicals. Because other than Night Song, I don't think any of our book picks for this book club have been under 300 pages. Like they're all like 400 or 500 pages.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're saying for sure. Mm-hmm.
Angelica, don't call me out like that. Well, first of all, no, I'm just kidding. But I do like some slow burns. And I read a lot of slow burns here and there for like historicals, but just like the past year, especially because of like the pandemic, I've been really gravitating towards more smut, like short reads. They're just easier to get through.
Yeah, I mean, for real, you have to take care of yourself. Quicker reads, you know, like.
And for the record, it's not shoujo. All the ones I've been reading have been boys' love. I haven't read a shoujo in like 3 years. Just setting the record straight.
I think Justin makes a good point though that we like, because I just read a Sophie Jordan, and her books are just like light, fluffy, fast. Yes. So reading that, and I listen to the audio, listen to it within a day, and then going to this, it's like these are very slow paced, drawn out, a lot more than just the romance. And then today we have like what Sophie Jordan's writing, which is very quick to the point. It's all about the fluff and the romance. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've read one.
You missed out on those like little scenes, like the kitten scene and the scene with the father. Like all of those stuff are in historical romances, but in a tradition, like more recent historical romance, you miss out on all of those side scenes that don't directly attribute to the plot or the romance. So it just depends what you're looking for. If you're more of like you want strictly the romance, I say new historicals. But if you're someone who doesn't really care for the steamy scenes, you like more of like a character development, then maybe older historicals.
And like you said, it didn't really feel Regency because they were in an insane asylum. Then they were just like locked up in his estate. And we only got that at the end with that ball. So we got the last like 20% really felt Regency, but all the rest, they were so isolated that it didn't feel like that at all.
Yeah.
And because of the Quaker speech, it felt like we were in like the 1700s, I would say. That's just the vibe that I got.
Yeah. What year was this placed in? Did it ever say?
Oh,
I think just about 1820. It was like pretty much the end of Regency, I think.
Well, I guess we would know if we knew what year the Prince Regent was, right?
But we have it in the beginning. They don't have it. Where it is.
Yeah,
I could have sworn that they said the year throughout the book. Like,
oh God. Okay. I was wondering if I had missed it. Usually they'll like say it like in the very first page, like June 1870. Yeah.
It annoys me when they don't put the year and I have to guess, but
yeah, because I'm like, that sets the tone.
King George.
Yeah, King George something. I don't remember which one.
Prince Regent. So he was still regent during the time. So it had to, I mean, the Regency's time era was only like 9 years. So
it's a very short time period. So
yeah. Somewhere in there, but it didn't feel
like with so many Regency historicals when it was a 9-year period.
I know that is very interesting, but I know that was like a time of flourishing. Like, I don't know, everything was just, the economy was really great, and it was a great time to be one of these titled people, and you know, so that's why it tends to be that time period. One scene I wanted to bring up was the wedding scene. My goodness, that was the most chaotic.
Yes,
wedding.
I loved it. Did you even call it that? Like,
I know. Literally, people just like beating down the door.
All right, now or never. Let's do it. Go. Yeah.
It felt like something like out of a telenovela, and that's one of my favorite things ever. Like, especially the audiobook. Like, I felt like the narrator was like, they were saying their vows, and like, bang, the door would push forward. I was like, yes. I loved it.
Definitely one of the most exciting parts of the book was when they got married, for sure. And I'm actually a little bit confused about that, because when it came out that like the friend lied about like telling father, didn't something else come out to be a lie, like in terms of who was beating down the door?
Oh, I was about that. They said like someone hired them.
Yeah,
like they weren't actually his family.
Who hired them?
I don't think
they said.
No, I think it was the brother-in-laws and the mom. I think it was his family.
Yeah.
Oh, but
like they convinced the mom to do it. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't technically have any power. They're all in her ear.
Okay.
And that made her doubt it. She's like,
the two men that cornered her at the ball. The two men that cornered her at the ball and told her to annul the wedding. I think it was them who hired. But they blamed
those
her.
are the brother-in-laws, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sniveling wimps. They were the one guy just like, we don't want to go to court. We have to. I just love how he contradicted everything the other guy was trying to say. He was trying to sound tough, and the other guy, but we don't want to. Like, I'm like, okay, you could have been silent. You didn't have to give yourself away like that.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Have you guys read any other books by this author?
No.
This is the only one that I had heard about because I remember I think maybe it was Lacey was the first one that like turned me on to this book because of the main character going through a stroke. And I've never seen a romance novel with a main character going through something like that. So that's what initially attracted me to this one.
I started this one, but I haven't finished it. It's Seize the Fire. I love this cover too. I can't really say what it's about because this was a cover by as well. But it's pretty. A lot of pretty books.
I've been recommended this author by like other authors before. She's like a fan favorite among authors too. So eventually maybe I'll read another book by her. I think I have a couple downloaded.
I think the writing was really easy to get through.
Yeah, I agree. I liked the writing a lot.
No sense at all. Yeah, like Shanna was. So many descriptions in Shanna. Oh my gosh, that took a long time to get through.
That was
the other thing about her books that like I think I'll never read them is because none of them have audiobooks, and like her writing, I tried reading like the first couple pages of one during one of the historical romance readathons, and I just couldn't do it. I didn't know what she was saying like at all. So Widowess, I don't know if I'll ever actually read her because her writing's so good. So hard to read.
I feel like with older historicals, when you start them, you're like, "Ooh, is this going to be problematic or not?" And this one didn't have really problematic elements at all. He was such a gentleman and really respected her boundaries when she was like, "No, I don't want anything to do with you."
There was
like
one.
Which one?
There was one scene where she kept on saying no, and he's like, "But yes," and she's like, "Okay, yes." So like he kind of pushed it, but like he knew.
You mean really the first night they slept together?
Oh, you know what? The audiobook made it seem like she was saying no in her head, that she didn't vocalize.
Yeah. I wasn't reading along at that point, so I don't
remember.
It was in the library.
Huh?
Oh, the
scene in the library?
Oh, no. The first night they slept together, I feel like in her head she kept saying no. And then she wasn't vocalizing it because she didn't like say it out loud. That's what I thought you were saying. In the library, she did say no because she was embarrassed by like the fact that it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But then he was like, "Oh, you want this?" And she's like, "Okay, yes, I do." And so then it went from there. At first, I was just like, "Is she gonna like vocalize yes?" Because she hasn't said that yet. But
okay, I feel you.
Yeah. So there was nothing bad about it. I do think it's super cute though that he has flowers on this cover. It actually applies to the book. I feel like so many covers and step backs have nothing to do with the book. So
yeah.
I hate what's total side note. I hate that with the new mass market paperbacks, we're not getting step backs. Like that is the most unfortunate thing ever.
I hate it.
What was the last book with a step back?
Sarah McLean has step backs on hers, doesn't she?
I think she still does. Her new one doesn't.
I don't think it will.
No, Bombshell doesn't have a step back, but her Bare Knuckled Bastard series that has step backs, right?
Yes.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of
but the new Lisa Kleypas one didn't have one either. And a lot of her Ravenel series have step backs in it. Oh, this is so sad.
I think 2020 was the last year for step backs.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
That is really unfortunate.
Also, the size is just messing up my bookshelf. Like, there's just the one random one with like just this much just hanging off the edge. It's just
and they haven't fixed the formatting of the inside. They just like put it on a bigger page, and I'm just like, this is so annoying.
Yeah, what's the point?
Oh, God, I need to look at this 1 second. Oh my God, this was a bunch of blank space.
Yeah.
So weird. Yeah.
What is the purpose of that? The purpose is they're trying to make it more appeasable because these covers are boring.
Well, and they want more money, so they want to charge more, so they can charge
more
like,
for a bigger book.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which like defeats the
I
purpose.
would spend $10 on a step back, so go do that instead.
100%.
Exactly.
I do remember her saying this.
Okay, that's I guess acceptable.
I hope it's better than
I like the ones with like beautiful back covers, so I'm okay with that. Yeah.
I just want them like
funny,
overtly romance books. I don't want the illustrated covers, and I don't really like just like the boring covers. I want the sexy step backs.
Like I don't like Bombshell's cover. I think it's boring.
Yeah, I agree.
Bombshell. Who's
Joanna's cover, I will scream how much I love that cover. For
Which
her
cover?
Joanna.
The purple one?
Oh, I love that cover. It's beautiful. It's like a step back, basically. Yeah, it's beautiful.
I still have to catch up on that series, but I'm excited for that.
Wait, who wrote Bomb? Oh, okay, I see it now.
Yeah, it's a first.
It's a little awkward.
And to me, like the cover model looks bored.
She does, and like the
It's
staircase,
a weird stance.
just like odd. I don't know. I wasn't excited for it.
It was.
I did
choice.
like that book though. That book was really good though.
What book?
Bombshell. It was good.
Oh, okay.
Did you guys like?
Desiree.
I don't know if I've actually read her.
Where did you
Great, because you're still dead.
You haven't read her Love by Numbers series? I thought you have.
No.
Oh, I love the Love by Numbers.
9 Rules to Break when Romancing a Rake.
Yep.
Yeah. I feel like we had a conversation about that series.
That's a good one.
I don't think I have read her. Oh well, I'll get to her eventually.
Do you guys read Devil in Disguise?
I have never started that series, the Ravenel series. So.
I've only read like 2 in the series, so
yeah.
Later on.
I have the book, but the Ravenel series is like the only series by Kleypas I haven't started it yet. So yeah. Do you guys have any slow burn historical romance recommendations?
I was thinking people put me on the spot. I feel like I have like at least like one, and I just can't.
I know. I got to think about it a little bit.
I know. I'm trying to think too. Now I have 0 coming up in my head.
I got to look through my Goodreads.
Okay, so wait, I just want to kind of like semi-vent about this one book that I recently read. So I read an American historical recently. It's called The Ballad of Crow and Sparrow by V.L. Locey, L-O-C-E-Y. And it was interesting because it was an MM romance, and the main character is half native, half French Canadian. So he spoke English and French. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. And he lives out in the middle of like the mountains or whatever. And with his dad, his dad dies of smallpox because they gave them blankets. Some travelers gave them blankets, and his dad dies of smallpox. So he's out there all by himself. He's like 22. He joins this gang of like bandits because this guy who's like the leader of the bandits is shot out on his lands. He saves them, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then he meets this really rich kid who was exiled from his family from being gay. All right. That whole premise was great. And then they like actually meet, and the meeting is fine, but this book has so many slurs in it. And I was like, this is a new book. It was literally published May 8th, 2021. Oh. Yeah, so like I was like, I understand you're trying to do a little bit of like realism, but you didn't have to put the slurs like in the description. Like if it was in
or slurs about his sexual identity.
Both. So like it was some slurs about him being homosexual, and then there were some about him being native. There were slurs about Black people, there were slurs about Hispanic people, slurs about Chinese people. I was like, oh my god. And it was like this book could have been a 5-star because like I loved the characters and the romance, but like the writing. Like, okay, well, and this has a rating of 4.22 on Goodreads, so like the rating's high.
Dang.
That's why I'm nervous also to read any Native American historicals that came out in like the 90s, because I know they're not gonna look good. Like the covers are pretty, like they're clinch covers, but I'm just like, I don't think I'm gonna enjoy reading that.
Yeah. I don't remember when I was filming like a book tour or something, and I saw like I had some like Native historical romances, not even that I knew they were native historical romances, because I just go into my bookstore and get things that I'm drawn to by the cover, which I shouldn't always do. And I was like, okay, well, before I actually talk about them, let me like look what the synopsis is. And so many had so many slurs and things that I'm just like, I cannot believe this is a published book. And I was like, okay, we're just gonna set all of these aside. Not even like, I think I ended up donating them to my little free library or something.
Yeah. This is the book. It had like a really nice cover, so I was like attracted to the cover, and the model's hot, so I was like, oh, I'll give it a shot. And yeah, it would have been a great book.
Do we want to talk about our favorite historical romance books?
Sure.
Based on this question, if you know. I mean, because I saw a couple of reviews compare this to The Madness of Lord Ian Mackenzie, and I feel like the whole like insane asylum thing was kind of connected. We never saw it on page, did we? In The Madness of I don't think we saw it.
It was just talked
like
about.
Referenced it.
Yeah.
But that's one of my all-time favorites.
It reminded me of that Joanna Shoup book, the one where he's deaf.
A Notorious Vow.
Oh, I love that book.
Yeah, where he does actually get thrown into the asylum.
That was rough to read about. Yeah, he gets thrown into the asylum.
And there is a happy ending for that one. So, if you want a little bit more happy ending for that, you read that one instead. I'm so bad at like favorites of all times because I don't have an organized Goodreads. I literally just like log things and never look back.
My favorite historical? I feel like I say the same thing over and over again. It's again The Magic by Lisa Kleypas.
I need to read that one.
You haven't read it yet?
It's the only Wallflower book that I haven't read.
Oh, it's so good. So it's a prequel to the Wallflower series. It's a angsty second chance romance that deals with a lot of class differences. It follows our hero, McKenna, who is like childhood sweethearts with our heroine, Eileen. But I think she's a daughter of an earl, and he is a stable boy. So her father really disapproves of the relationship and ends up coming between them. Something happens where they end up getting separated, and then years later he comes back as a self-made man, and he's literally just coming back to kind of like prove that he made it and
flaunt it in her
face. Shove it in her face and like show her what she was missing. And it follows their romance. There's a second like subplot that has another romance in it too of her sister. And then if you are reading that book, there are trigger warnings for alcohol addiction and miscarriage. But that's my favorite historical romance ever. Ever.
Oh, Rachel, did you have an answer? Before we move on.
Right next to me.
Oh, how convenient. Okay.
Aww.
It's, I just reread it recently, and I never reread things, and I need to be better about that. But yeah, I just reread it for the first time recently, and like, there's just so many fun scenes in this that like, I laugh out loud so many times. And I love Ash to death. I love him so much. He's so freaking funny with him and his like Shakespearean insults and like he's fantastic. So yeah, that's always my favorite. Although I recently read Any Duchess Will Do, also by Tessa Dare, and I loved that one.
I really like that one.
So good.
That series is hit or miss, but I really like that one.
It's very hit or miss, but that one I think is my favorite of the series, even though Week to Be Wicked is a very close second for sure. But I just love, Wallflower Wager is also a very close, like second all-time favorite historical. I just haven't reread that one to like make sure, but yeah, I'm a Tessa Dare stan. Whenever she decides to grace us with the bride bet, like,
Whenever
that happens,
like,
yeah.
Not even a date out there. There's
no date.
Not? Like, what
That's
is the whole
understand? I don't understand. Yeah, there's literally no news about it, and she's very active on social media. So I'm always like,
she's super active.
But I feel like her hype has like, I don't want to say like died down, but people were obsessed with it. Like last year, people were finally discovering the Duchess deal and like that series. And I'm just like, I feel like that's kind of died down, and she's like missing her window of like really hyping her book.
Yeah,
I agree.
We haven't talked about her in a minute.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm really glad though that this past Christmas she did come out with a Christmas novella, and I adored it. I think it's called like When She Was Naughty or something, and I'm really glad that she came out with like something last year because I was just desperate for anything, and I absolutely adored it. Like her most recent works are on another level than any of her other stuff, in my opinion. Like just her writing style and like the books feel more unique too, and like I don't know, there's just something very different about like her Girl Meets Duke series versus like anything else that I've read by her.
Yeah, I agree.
I have found my favorite historicals. I can't believe I forgot. I just blanked because you put me on the spot. But my favorite historical that I keep talking about and nobody will read it is the Will Darling series by KJ Charles, the one that's set in the 1920s, and it's like a spy novel series. And I found one that's similar to it that like literally I don't think I've seen anyone talk about, called Magic in Manhattan series by Ali Theron. And the first book is called Spellbound. I just saw it randomly again on Amazon, and I read it, and it's really good. It's like the Will Darling series set in the 1920s, but make it magic. So like they have, I wouldn't call them superpowers, but they have special abilities, and they're both like really good. I love it.
Yeah,
I need to check out KJ Charles for sure. I keep forgetting.
She's great.
Yeah, a lot of
She's
people.
really good.
I feel like her books get hyped up. I maybe just because you hyped them.
She's pretty popular. KJ Charles is pretty popular.
Yeah, I feel like she's pretty popular. Side note, I don't mean to talk too much, but you reminded me of a book that I feel like nobody talks about. It's gosh, now it's like saved my brain. It's by Olivia Waite. The Lady's Guide to Celestial Mechanics. That one's a good one. It's a sapphic romance. The heroine is an astrologer, and she ends up staying with the other heroine because she's kind of like her benefactor, and they form a romance, and it's so beautiful. It is such a good romance that I hear like nobody talk about.
I feel like out of all the sapphic ones, that's the one I hear the most about.
Yeah, but I just feel like sapphic romances in general don't get talked about a lot when it comes to like BookTube and Bookstagram. I just want them to get like more.
Especially historicals, you don't hear much about them.
No. Mm-hmm.
Well, there's not a lot traditionally published.
That's true.
That's true. MM ones.
Yeah.
The ones I've read have all been indie.
Yeah.
Erica Ridley is coming out with her new one, though.
Oh, I did see that. The cover's beautiful.
I'm so excited for that one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this person wants contemporary or historical.
Trapped on a desert island. Oh, I don't know.
Karina Halley has one. That's contemporary.
Love Rex.
I haven't read it. Yes.
It's a good one. I love that one. That. Yeah. I personally love the historicals where they have to like travel together.
A week to be with
extended period of time. Like I most recently read like The Duke Buys a Bride by Sophie Jordan. That's
what I just read. It was all travel. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all travel. I love and then A Week to Be Wicked, of course, is a fantastic travel one. And There Is Only One Bed trope. Always a fun time.
Gentle Rogue is kind of like forced proximity. I mean, they're on a ship by Johanna Lindsay.
Yeah.
Oh, Kidnapped by the Pirate by Kira Andrews.
Is that the...
Yeah, it's a pirate historical. It's pirate historical romance. That one's forced proximity because they literally, like, the one main character is a pirate captain, and then they kidnap the other main character, and he's forced to stay in the pirate captain's bedroom. So
I love that author.
Forced proximity.
I'm so excited.
Kira Andrews is like, I've never heard anyone talk about her, and she's so good. I love her.
I need to read her contemporaries now because I loved that historical. I
just finished reading her Amish series when I was talking about earlier, and it was very heavy, but it was very good. It's kind of like the Serena Bowen cult one. So the Goodbye Paradise. Yeah.
I have some of Penelope Neary's books just because the covers are really pretty.
I never heard of her.
I need to look at them.
I've actually never heard of that author, Penelope Neary.
Me either.
Saving Miss Everly. Okay.
I don't remember where I put her books.
These are like tropes I've never thought about. Like Trapped on a Desert Island.
On a Desert Island. I've only read like one book with that trope. So,
what's the book by Kira Andrews so I can look it up?
Kidnapped by the Pirate is the one that I was talking about. Yeah.
It's on Kindle Unlimited.
Kindle Unlimited, and it's.
Oh, I meant to say, did you guys see it that you can now have like 20 books out on Kindle Unlimited?
I haven't tried it out yet, but yeah.
Okay, that explains so much.
Add, like
I added so many. I thought because my old Kindle Limited was connected to my dad's account, I thought maybe like I got charged twice and like I could buy more. Like I had 2 subscriptions, but I was very excited. I was so excited.
Okay, now I'm gonna go check out all of the books.
That makes so much sense because I'm always like the person that's like, you have 10 books checked out, you switch them out so you can put in the new book. So I was wondering why it wasn't doing that to me.
Yeah. Yep.
We do have a question. Would you consider writing your own book?
Absolutely not.
All the time.
No, I'm not a writer. I will never be a writer. I can't even imagine trying to write a book, like trying to plot. I don't even know what I would want to write.
I still don't know where like a comma goes. Like it's not gonna happen. Like
okay, same with the comma, but I've had like 3 books simmering on my brain since like middle school and they're never coming out.
Like Desiree, I've had ideas for like a plot of a book. Like I really want this to be published. Like when I was visiting family, I was in Puerto Rico and there's this specific town where even now there's like this like rival families in this town that all the people who live there like know about these rival families in Puerto Rico. And I'm like, oh my God, somebody needs to write this book right now.
Not me.
But not me because I could barely spell. So
I mean, same also with
desire. I really don't.
I always have the desire. I'm like, I want to write this very specific story that no one's ever like, done or I've ever read or seen or anything. But then words don't come to me or I'll write a sentence and be like, wow, that sounds stupid.
That's the only way I'd want to write something is if I really come up with a creative idea that I know nobody else has written. Other than that, like, I'm not gonna.
I feel like everybody's written everything though.
I know,
like, it's that's original.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, I feel like I don't have anything to add to literature. So like we're good. I'm just gonna keep reading.
And I'm such a sensitive person. Like if I spend hours and hours writing a book and somebody doesn't like it, like no, I can't get a bad review. I will take it personally. I'm not an author.
Yeah.
I have one of my books,
that would be so difficult to try to like seeing all the criticism and stuff. I don't know. Yeah.
Where is it? The Shut-In Detective.
Yeah.
It's just sitting in my little folder. I had pages written from my typewriter. It's just, I tried.
Oh, you really
not going anywhere.
Tried. Now I want.
It's not going anywhere. I don't even know how I got to page 8. Yeah, and then I gave up.
That's it.
I couldn't think of anything else. I got them to meet up, and then I think my premise of the story was that it's this girl who's a part of this rich family, and she's Black, and her dad runs a tech company, and she kind of has a Sherlock type personality, in the British series, where she's kind of aloof, so she doesn't date or intermingle with people, and she kind of lives off in this cabin by herself. And the dad's like, I need an heir, and I have no more children, and me and my wife are done, so we need to make this happen. So he's recruiting guys from his company to date her, but they always come back and are just I can't do it. And then obviously the hero is going to be the guy that stays, but he still finds her difficult. And that is as far as I got. He went out to the cabin and he met her, and I didn't know what to do from there.
And that's it.
That was it. So if anyone steals that story, I know where it's from because I did it on a live show. Just kidding. It's never coming from me.
That is so funny.
Kindle Unlimited. Wait, let me check my Kindle Unlimited.
Yeah, Kira Andrews' book is off of Kindle. All of her books are on Kindle Unlimited. And then I'm trying to think of a lot of what I read off of there is contemporary. I actually haven't delved too deeply into what historicals are on KU.
Christy Caldwell is all up on KU. She writes a ton of historicals. I know Jessica didn't like her first book, but but she has this what is it called? The Wicked Wallflower series. That one is my favorite. One of my favorite historical romance series, especially the last book. I think it's called Fire. Yeah,
she's coming out with a book with Berkeley.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And all of her books on Kindle Unlimited have the audiobook, and I like the name.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so if you want to read some of her books, they're all on there. Laura Kinsey is also on Kindle Unlimited, and she writes historical romance novellas. And all of her historical romances are pretty diverse. Like, they all feature queer characters, pretty sex positive, body positive, short novellas. There's a sapphic romance that she has called, I have no idea what it's called. Budding Flowers, Budding Romance, something like
Budding Flowers?
Oh, okay. Now I have to see what it is. Budding something.
What's the author's name?
Laura Kinsey.
Okay.
Or is it, Laura, but it's spelled Lara.
Oh, okay.
I think both of the books I recommended earlier were on Kindle Unlimited. So I Married a Lizard Man by Regine Abel and Real by Amy Bellows, which is part of a series, but I think it can be read alone. They're both on Kindle Unlimited.
The Laura Kinsey books, they all have illustrated covers. They're like very bright, and they have
This one's called Budding Romance. That's the one. It's a sapphic romance. Yeah, it's a headmistress who hires a gardener, and they fall in love, and it's really cute.
I love it. And I am so obsessed with novellas right now. Yes. So I'm so here for this.
I mainly read novellas at this point. It's just so much easier.
It's so much easier. You get everything you need. You get the happily ever after. You get the smut. Like, it's great. It's a great time.
Oh yeah, I have one last recommendation before we answer this question. There is this book that, has anyone read Louisa Masters?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so there's this book called Demons Do It Better by Louisa Masters, and again, I saw this cover and I was like, this is ridiculous, but also I kind of want to like read it, and I read it. Demons Do It Better.
I'm already here for it.
It's paranormal, and the premise is so ridiculous but so fun. It's this human that stumbles upon like an agency for hell. So like there are demons that are running the office for hell, and he stumbles upon it and he becomes like an employee for hell. And he falls in love with a demon. And there are a bunch of different monsters that work in the office, like vampires and like succubus and everything in between. And it's so much fun. It's written in this like really quirky way. I recommend the audiobook if you're not like good with reading quirky language, or you think it's like too silly. The audiobook kind of like, dampens that down and makes it more fun. So it's a lot of fun. I like that one. That's on Kindle Unlimited.
I just added that to my KU like shopping list. So
I read like the quirky weird stuff, because if reading's not fun, what's the point?
Exactly. We love weird. We love it.
So do you guys feel like the stigma of reading romance has lessened since the popularity of BookTube, Bookstagram, and TikTok? Absolutely not.
No, because TikTok in particular is like rampant with people being like, I love romance, but it's not quality. It's not like...
They're obsessed with discrete covers too.
Yes.
The whole point of being a proud romance reader. Exactly. It's rampant on TikTok and TikTokers on BookTube. I'm so angry when they're like, discrete cover romances.
Or I loved this romance, but like you said, or this was good for a romance. I'm like,
exactly. It's like, okay, then you don't really love romance if you say things like that. Like if you're like rationalizing, I loved it, but like you can turn your brain off, and I don't know, like it's not good.
Or my personal favorite, this was a great romance, 3 stars.
Oh
yeah. My personal favorite.
3 stars.
They sing it high praises. They're like, oh my God, this is amazing. The characters were great. The relationship was awesome. I had such a fun time. 3 stars. Every single time.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who like, just because it's a romance, they will never give it more than maybe 4 stars because it's lower quality.
Yeah. I think though more people are reading romance.
Yes.
But I really do not like the way TikTok talks about romance, and like,
I agree.
people talk about themselves when they read romance. I don't like it.
It's still a stigma, and why I feel like publishers are leaning into the illustrated covers because they're not overtly romance books, and we're getting away from the step back. So it's still a stigma, just a different situation, to be completely honest. And the diversity on TikTok, like for recommendations, isn't that great. Like
it is not good. It's not
any, like great diverse reads either. So
I'm like literally everybody just talks about ACOTAR.
Yeah, or I Planet Barbarians.
Yeah,
they all are reading someone,
and then they'll make fun of themselves for reading it.
Right.
On one of my videos, told me to read the King series by T.M. Frazier, which is a motorcycle romance series I read 5 years ago. And like, I love that they're discovering these books, but I'm just like, all of these books we were talking about and no one was listening. Like
exactly. It's not like these people think that they're discovering things, and it's like, no, girl.
I mean, that's
so funny.
Nothing is new and everything is reused type
True.
of role. So I do love the idea of it, and I love like quick recommendations, but I would just like to see it done in a more positive way, because people don't talk about romance the same way they do with fantasy or literary fiction. You know, there's always kind of like a backhanded compliment when it comes to romance, and I don't think that's ever going to change.
Always backhanded. Yeah,
absolutely.
Always with like an asterisk of, okay, it's just romance, or
and that's across the board on TikTok. Like every single romance medium, like whether it be an anime or manga or movies or books, it's all the exact same. I see so many anime TikToks about, here's some of the unproblematic romance animes that I would recommend to you guys, or here's some of the unproblematic romance tropes that I would I swipe past those so quick. I get so annoyed with them. I'm like, if you like a trope, you like it. Just let people like what they like.
Yeah,
there are some good accounts, and I really do like that romance is getting more attention. So it's like it's a catch-22, but I don't think the stigma changed at all.
And it's odd how obsessed with spice they are. Like,
I know,
they like to brag about it, and they're like, "This is a 5 out of 5 spice, 18+ romance," and I'm like,
I'm not gonna lie, I just posted a TikTok that I did that.
Did you do that? Well, that's like a trend. That's what like everyone on BookTok is doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
They
don't care if it's not spicy, but then they like rag on it for being spicy. So I'm like, you got to pick a side.
Yeah,
like,
that's true. That's true. Yeah, you got to pick a side.
Just like the way they talk about romance is very odd to me.
I agree. It's weird.
Yeah, they treat it like reality TV. Like everyone's reading it, they're enjoying it, but then they want to trash it. Like, oh, that's not like real, or
whatever. True. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
You remember when it was like a huge controversy about the girls calling themselves trashy for reading it? Like every booktuber, bookstagrammer was like making a post about why that was not okay. Yeah, that was a whole mess. Yeah. A whole mess and a half.
If you want positive romance recs, they're out there. There's tons of creators making them, but I think like generally there's always going to be a stigma.
Yeah, for sure.
And like an embarrassment.
Like the spice thing is weird too, because that seems to be so subjective. Like some books, some people will say only have like 2 out of 5 peppers, and in my mind, I'm like, whoa, that was like 4 or 5. Like somebody said Punk 57 is like a 2 out of 5 for spice.
What?
And I'm like, excuse me?
Penelope Douglas?
I know. Like,
what are you reading that's more than that?
What is your 5 out of 5?
Yo, I remember listening to Punk 57 on audiobook in my college dorm, and like I was cleaning my room and I didn't have headphones in, and I like scrambled to get my tablet because it was a little too loud. Like it was one of so I don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
Oh god. Yeah, they're weird. I don't know.
I do think though that the community on BookTube has grown a lot, the romance community.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, that's true.
Which is always exciting.
Yeah.
And also I think the format of TikTok just doesn't like aid to itself because it's so short. Like a lot of their points kind of come across the way that we're perceiving them. So it just the short consumption's not helping, I think.
Yeah, it's easy to take out of context, and they know what they're doing. They're using these words and this verbiage because it attracts people. So I don't want it to make it seem like I don't like TikTok. I mean, I do, and I have found some recommendations from it, like a lot of reverse harem recommendations, because that's really popular right now.
Yeah,
it needs work though.
Yeah, it needs work.
It does.
Bookstagram, everything. It all needs work.
The back of Bob.
Looks pretty though.
Oh, that's is.
Nice.
I like it.
I read it on an ebook, so I didn't get to see the back.
Justin just sent that on Instagram, so thank you, Justin. I like it. I wish though that could be like the front. It's so much better than the
yeah, because the front cover, like I said, she looks bored, and yeah, I'm confused.
Yeah,
I don't know why is she bored, girl. Why is she so bored?
They look bored on the back, so
yeah, it looks like a stock cover. Like
it does. I agree.
Yeah, it could just be placed on any type of historical. But the actual book is good. I gave it 4 stars.
All right. Do we want to? I already held it up. Our next book, though, for August. This is right, correct?
Ooh.
Ravish.
Oh, that's a fun step back.
Oh yes,
hers are always so intense.
Yeah,
that's so intense. Yes,
it's very intense.
All her
Amanda Quick yet.
An Amanda Quick book.
I don't know what it's about, but this is our next pick.
Yeah.
Oh, he has.
You haven't read her?
Scarred Hero.
He has what?
He's a scarred hero.
Oh wait, maybe I'll read that with you. I like scarred hero. Let me see.
Yeah, I've never read anything by Amanda Quick.
Like, I know that she's super popular. Again, another popular author, and I just haven't read her.
Yeah.
Oh, this came out in 92 too.
Oh, did it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have Dangerous by her. The covers look similar.
All her covers look really similar.
Are like different colors, but they look very similar.
Yeah.
The same artist created like all of her step backs. They're very, very beautiful. They all look like this with like multiple things happening on the step back.
Yeah.
Nice.
But like, does all this happen in the book?
I would hope.
That's a good question.
There really treasure somewhere, and I don't know.
A duel. I don't know. We will find out. This is our August book pick. We don't have the date set, but it'll probably be the last weekend in August, and it's going to be on my channel.
I had Sam linked too, so you might be clicking on the wrong one. I'll have to check.
Yeah, because she was going to join our live show, and she couldn't make it, but you guys should follow her anyways. Her content is amazing.
She'll be on here next month. She said she's going to try to make it. Let me look at your link. No, yours works. Takes me right to Samantha. Yeah.
That's where the live is going to be next month. Or this month, I'm sorry, because we're behind.
I was very proud of my thumbnail, though. Did you guys see it?
It's so cute. So cute.
I mean, it was just a template on Canva that I added to, but I think it's cute.
But it's cute.
I'm going to
figure out Canva.
The next live show.
You what?
I'm going to copy it for the next live show.
Yes. I can just make it for you and send it to you if you want me to. Like, change out the title. Okay. Okay. All right. Oh, okay, good. Step back has to do with the plot. Good to hear. If you want to follow anybody, everybody is linked in the description box down below. Thank you for joining us, Desiree and Rachel. We had a lot of fun.
Yay.
Okay.
I had fun too.
This was fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye. Never know how to end these. It's fine.
I know.